Well, good morning, everybody. Good to see you all here. Yeah, I really love this magazine this month, and if you don't have it, you can buy it usually at Barnes & Noble. So it's worth picking up. Well, there is Chris. Welcome back. Good to see you. So we're talking about passion and purpose this month, and so the whole magazine is devoted to that. Really good articles. My talk today is called Percolating Your Passion of Purpose. So this is a big day today. My daughter Chris is having her birthday today. Woo-hoo! I was hoping that we were going to be celebrating with a friend of mine from Boulder, Colorado. She was going to come in and celebrate with us and spend some time. And she texted a few days ago and said she's got COVID. So that was the end of that. But I'm thinking of her, and I'm going to be mentioning her passion a little bit in this talk today. So I love this theme, my passion, my purpose, and don't you just love to be around people who have a passion? I mean, look at Mark. He's fun to be around. He's got a passion. I mean, as we get to know each other, we see what people's passion are, and it's fun to be with people who are passionate. I think that the reason is, I think that what's happening is people who are passionate are allowing the Spirit, our Creator, that Spirit, that's all there is, to experience life in, through, and as them. You know, that's what I think. I'm thinking maybe that's what we're here for. Maybe we're here to just be a vehicle for that Spirit to experience life. And why not be passionate about life? Like Mark, I have a girlfriend who was married to this guy. He's in another realm at this time, but he was nuts about these race cars. Now, he liked the ones with those great big tires on the back and then the little skinny nose. Is that a dragster or? A dragster, yeah. And that's what he liked. And he owned a bunch of them, and they lived in California, and so they'd take these dragsters, and he had a few of them, and they'd take them to these various racetracks in California. Now, my girlfriend is like, not like that. But she did like her cats, and they did have an RV. So sometimes they'd take the RV and the cats, and they'd go to the races. She wouldn't get out of the RV. But it was fun for her, too, just to be around family and stuff. So I loved the fact that Ron was so passionate about these race cars. I mean, he was just alive, and it's fun to be around people like that. One of the things that, one of the quotes I found today was from a woman named Marie Kondo. Now, Marie Kondo is the woman that writes books about organizing your life, organizing your house, etc., etc. But she says this: let every decision you make, every goal you set, and every aspect of your life be guided by what sparks joy. How fun is that? You know, I'm always encouraged when I remember that God is not going to steer me in a direction that I don't find exciting and lovely. I'm not ever going to be an IT person. That's not what God has in mind for me. And I appreciate that. I just know that that's not my calling, and I'll do something else. My friend Margie, the one from Boulder, when we went to high school together, when we were in high school, for some reason she was sent to this conference about don't smoke. And this was in the 60s. And of course, you know, we kind of knew don't smoke, but not really. It was still pretty cool. And so she came back, and she was on fire. We are not smoking. None of you are smoking. You got to quit smoking. That is no good. I saw the x-rays. I saw the lung x-rays. I saw what they do. And she would go on and on. And to the point where we were, you know, kind of teasing her a little bit because she's like over the top. And she didn't even notice it. I mean, so passionate she was, she didn't even notice she was getting teased a little bit. But we all still respected what she was doing because it was from the heart. It was her passion. And that was a wonderful thing. Another quote that I just ran into a couple days ago was by a guy named Joseph Addison. Now, this guy is from way back when, 1672 he was born. And he was an Englishman, he was an essayist, he was a poet, a playwright, a politician. And he wrote this: "Joy comes into our life when we have something to do, something to love, and something to hope for." Don't they just kind of grab you? I mean, these are going in my quote book, and I know Colleen does a little accumulation and puts them on cards and in books, and these are just really inspirational for me. Now, last week Debbie was talking about, you know, think back about your youth. What did you enjoy as a youth? Because a lot of times what we enjoyed as kids somehow translates a little bit to what we end up doing as adults. And we're having a great conversation. We should do more of this, maybe even a little structured. Debbie was saying that when she was a little girl, she would line her dolls up in the corner of the basement in her space, and, you know, guess what? She was teaching them. and I think that, now, did I ever preach? I probably did. I think I did. I remember some sort of a black cape, and I believe it was my preacher cape. So as we look back at what gave us joy and what we enjoy doing, when did time stop? You know, when did you just lose track of it? You just lose track of what time it is because you're so involved in something that you so much love. And how wonderful to take that stuff that we enjoyed as a child and bring it to our adulthood and really get excited about what we're doing. Now, remember I told you I wouldn't forget to keep telling you about Ernest Holmes' factory? Okay, I'm telling you again, but I'm going to tell you where you find it so that in the event I don't tell you for a while, you can look it up. 3rd chapter of the Science of Mind text, pages 47 and 48. And what he's talking, and this was so meaningful to me, this made sense to me. I could really get my arms around this. He said, think about a foundry, and you got these big vats, and in the vat they put the hard pig iron, and they put the big fire underneath. I'm not sure how they do this, but put the fire on, melt that pig iron until it's liquid. Then they have a mold. What is it that they want that liquid to form? Whatever they're making in that foundry. In our lives, we aren't responsible for the vat or the fire or the pig iron. We are responsible for the mold. What is it I want? What is it I want in my life? Do I want financial abundance? Do I want a healed relationship? Do I want some healing in my physical body? Do I want direction, my career? What is it that I want? That's what our job is. That's all we have to do, make that mold. And as Ernest Holmes would say, that's all we're selling. That's all we're selling. This is, you know, it's relatively simple. That we know there's a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can consciously use it. We use it by making that mold. As we create a divine mental mold, the universe responds with an equivalent physical manifestation. That could be another quote. As we create a divine mental mold, the universe responds with an equivalent physical manifestation. What we think about, we bring about. And this is the point of view of Science of Mind, this philosophy that we embrace. And just to expand on that point of view, we can be mesmerized or we can be malnourished by all the stuff coming at us, the news, the newspapers, negativity where we work. We could go that way, or as we focus on our passion, be it race cars, or be it helping somebody quit smoking, or be it working with prisons, or AA and Al-Anon. Allison, one of the women that comes here real often, she feels like she was spiritually encouraged, induced to travel. She's off in Europe somewhere, I forget where, but she felt like this was part of her journey, that she was going to come back with a clear head and really hit her focus when she got here. So wherever this focus or our passion takes us, could be travel, could be indulging our grandchildren for a while, could be gardening, whatever it is, by becoming aware of what we are giving our attention to, we make this first conscious step. That conscious step, setting an intention, making that mold. And then the percolation of our passion begins when we spend time thinking about this idea, about our intention. That's when we start percolating. In prac training, I just clearly remember, set your intention with feeling, and that will equal manifestation. Pretty simple. Set your intention with feeling, and that will equal your manifestation. Intentions and feeling what it would be like. This is something that, who was saying something about daydreaming this morning that was in the reading. What a wonderful thing to be told to do. We're not told sit down and put ashes on you and beat yourself. We're not told to do that. We're told to use our imaginations and be jubilant. Get excited about what our intentions are. When you think about athletes and some of the training they go through nowadays, they're told the guy that wants to hit the home runs, he visualized standing at home plate, holding that bat in a certain stance, watching that bat hit the ball, seeing the ball go over the wall, feeling that feeling, seeing himself running around the bases, doing the crazy stuff they do. The guy that's playing tennis, he imagines over and over throwing that ball up, wham, he's hitting an ace that opponent is not going to be able to return. Feels good. He sees it over and over and over again. Gets that feeling, that powerful feeling that, yeah, I can overpower that guy. That feels pretty good. Or the marathoner seeing herself or himself crossing that finish line, first one, yay, sees that, plants those seeds. When I do a prayer call with a friend of mine every day, and she says a prayer, I say a prayer, and then after we're done praying, I like to say, now let's just take a moment and embrace the feeling that our answered prayer elicits. Let's just take a moment. And so we sit there for 1 minute and embrace the feeling that our answered prayer elicits. So our passions and our feelings serve as inspiration for our purpose. So when I was first introduced to Science of Mind, and I was introduced by a wholesaler coming into our brokerage office, and he was telling us how to sell oil and gas programs, but at the end he held a magazine like this up and he said, I want to preach to you, but this magazine is very powerful for helping you goal set and keeping you positive. And out of a room full of 25, 30 brokers, Dee Ray and I were the only women, and guess who bit? Me and Dee. And we stayed bitten. So I got a hold of that magazine, and I had been searching. I had been struggling with my faith. I believed there was a power I didn't have words for it. I knew there was God, but he was way up there, and he's usually mad at me, and I usually wasn't good enough, and I knew I was a poor, miserable sinner. I knew all this stuff. And I was going to church every Sunday, confessing all this stuff that I didn't really believe. It didn't feel very good at all. It's very harmful to do that. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know about unity. I didn't know science of mind. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know Ernest Holmes. I guess I was a little sheltered, but I did not know there were some alternatives. I knew there were different synods, and I considered, switching synods, going to one that was a little less fundamental. And when I saw this magazine, I read this magazine, that's what I believe. I believe this I can embrace, this I can put my arms around. I was so excited about it, and Dee was too. We both just got very involved in figuring out what to do next. We didn't have a center to go to, but we would we would go into a conference room at 9:30 every morning, and we would pray. And we would try to pray like they prayed in here. We didn't know the 5 steps, but we knew it should be in first person, and it should be positive. And so it was what we could do, and it was, there was a lot of passion there, but where was the purpose? I certainly, I was just so happy and so relieved to not be under that horrible umbrella of fear and worry about what do I believe, what is going on. And so in my case, my purpose evolved. As I continued to take classes and learn things and this and that, then it became clear, I believe my job, even right now, is to be simply a messenger of this philosophy of science of mind to seekers, people who, I'm not looking to convert anybody that feels comfortable in their current faith, not at all, because guess what? I don't believe they're going to go burn in hell. So I don't have any urgency for that. But I do have an urgency to say, if you want control over your life and you want to live a life of joy and fun and stuff, yeah, we got we got a good idea here, and we can share it with you. So this to me is my purpose. There's another example I want to tell you about. There's this woman named Mary Manat, and she was kind of like my friend Margie. She was very loved the earth, kind of a tree hugger kind of a person, really, yeah. She was an activist, and she was all excited about stuff. And she found this arena that was having this speaker, and the speaker's name was Julia Butterfly. And this was going to allow this Mary to just be in her element, because Julia Butterfly was the woman, you may remember this. She sat in a redwood tree for 738 days. She chained herself to this redwood tree for 738 days so that Pacific Lumber Company wouldn't cut it down. I don't know the end of the story.
The end of the story's cool.
Okay, all right. So she was the speaker, and Mary was so excited to be there. Well, Julia chastised these people. She says, here you are in this arena. You want to save the earth. Look what a mess you are making here. You are littering. You're going to leave this place in terrible shape. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So Mary went home crying. She thought, oh gosh, I got to get better at this living stuff. So what happened is she let her feelings percolate. She thought about for a while, and then she started a successful recycling company. It was very successful in California. her passion, after percolating, became her purpose. And that's what I'm talking about today, is letting our passion lead us into our purpose. So we don't need to be saving the world, really. I mean, some of your passion, that might be your passion. I got to save the world. I've got to do these, I've got to stop starvation. Some people are really honed in on these really big projects. Yet I think it would do us well to listen to the words of Howard Thurman. He says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." I love that, Howard Thurman. So it can boil down to very simple actions that ripple out and make a difference. Like I said, I don't know my friend Ron in his race cars, what difference did he make in the world? Well, I kind of think he did make a difference, because whenever anybody has that kind of joy and love of life, it does ripple out to other people. And I think it changes the lives of a lot of people. I want to just close with that Rumi quote. "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." So with that, I would ask you to take a deep breath, get comfortable where you're at, and I will do a spiritual mind treatment. And I know there is but one power in the universe. It's the power that created everything, everything and everyone. It is all the good stuff. It's the love, it's the joy, it's the peace, it's the balance, order, all good. And that very power that created everything experiences life in, through, and as its creation, in, through, and as every person. And acknowledging that power within, with that power within, I embrace this percolating your passion with purpose lesson. Let every decision you make and every goal you set and every aspect of life be guided by what makes you sparkle. This is what I remember. My first step is to give attention to this, my goal, my mold that I made. Then I percolate by spending time embracing the feeling that the manifestation of that prayer elicits. Just allow myself to embrace that wonderful feeling. And from this place of passion, I open myself to what is for me to do. What's my purpose? And I know my purpose is what makes me feel alive. In gratitude, I remember that I am silently drawn by the strange pull of what I really love. So trusting these wise words, I release them now for perfect manifestation. So it is.